everyone has the ability to play music or any instrument?
Does anybody have any ability to play? Listen, you gotta have some talent. Sometimes you hear somebody play, and they may play very well, and I still say, this person is just not talented. Maybe they can play the notes very well, and then sometimes you hear somebody who's like 10 years old, and you already hear, boom, it's like that. So that's talent. That has nothing to do with, this person didn't practice as much, and it's something that you've got. The same thing about sound. You can have 3 or 4 violinists play on the same instrument, even. And with one you hear, it's okay, and one you hear, and maybe they play a little bit out of tune, but the sound is something because they hear it. So a lot of stuff, to answer to your question, some of it has to do with some sort of talent or some sort of gift for something. But that always remains to be seen. I don't know if you can make a flat statement that anybody can do it. There's some people who really are really horrible. Tone deaf. Some people are tone deaf. I have a friend who cannot sing a tune. So what? Does that make him less good? No, they just can't sing a tune. A lot of it has to do with what's in our brains. As far as I'm concerned, the talent is, a lot of it is something in the brain, stuff like, how can somebody play so fast? You've seen, you go on YouTube, you've seen some pianists, plays like 55,000 miles an hour. Do that. Well, it's something here, I have one of my colleagues, wonderful pianist with whom I recorded, Vladimir Ashkenazi, a fantastic, great pianist. He was talking about certain things in the repertoire that were easy for him, and certain things in the repertoire that were difficult for him. And I would say, that's difficult for you. He say, yeah, for some reason I can't, my hands don't like this. But this is incredible. He said, that's for these nothing. So it's the same thing with violin playing, Certain things, for me, that I do is very, very easy, but then somebody will play something and I said, no, forget it, that's not for me, I can't do that. My hands are not,
So there's
something
some
in my
basic
brain.
wiring, exactly.
Yeah, it's a wiring, that's the word.
What's your favorite violin concerto?
My favorite violin concerto is the one I'm playing at the moment. No, I don't know. I don't. You're closer. I won't answer the other question. What's your least favorite violin concerto? I won't even answer that. But I could answer that easier. It's because, I can actually tell you my least favorite was, and still is probably, the Lalo Symphony Español. And I'll tell you why. When I was in Israel studying with my Russian teacher, I had a bow grip, a Russian bow grip. So when I came to the United States, the Delay and Galamian bow grip was a Franco-Belgian bow grip. And Galamian kept me on the Lalo Symphony Español for a year and a half, just to fix my bow. So I really officially hate it. So I sort of so I didn't play it for a while, and then I recorded it. I said, okay, I'll record it, I'm going to learn to love it. And then after the recording, I said, well, now I don't have to love it, goodbye. Finished.
Yes, I had, when I started playing, when one of the first advanced pieces that I started playing was the Lala as well, and
I hate that piece.
it was the Lala, and I had a choice between my teacher had a choice between Itzhak Perlman listening to your recording of it, or I believe Sarah Chang's recording of it, and the first recording I listened to was yours, and I just fell in love with that recording.
Well, of course.
I fell in love with that recording, and that piece, and I played that piece at a concert in Kerrville, and I've always listened to your pieces, your music, your recordings. And actually, I have a question on Schindler's List. How did you get started? How did you accept that role? Because I know you were talking about other music. Alternative music that a lot of times that you wouldn't accept, that you wouldn't want to play.
Yeah. Well, Schindler's List was, well, the thing is that I got a telephone call from John Williams. And I respect John Williams as a composer. I think he's fantastic. And I knew that he really knew how to do certain things that would fit a particular film. I mean, he's like a, you know, we can call him a chameleon composer, you know. I mean, he writes for Geisha, and then he writes for Schindler's List, and he writes for anything that fits, you know. And he said, I hear a violin, you know, would you like to do it? And I said, yeah, sure, you know, because I knew that he was, I didn't know if he was going to be successful, because he was not exactly, you know, his background is not exactly Jewish from Eastern Europe. Not exactly, yes? John Williams. So, but he's so talented, and then you see what he did also, what we talked about, how do you do certain stuff. He listened to a lot of stuff that was going on, and then it just became part of his composing ability and stuff like that. So he wrote it, and I was so impressed that he got the flavor.
It's the voice of the film.
Yeah.
Dr. Dowdy, one last question, please, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap that up.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Renee. So, okay, back there.
I know how earlier you were talking about the summer camp that you do. If we want to get into that summer camp, besides just going online and looking at it, what would you suggest, like, we practice or how we should practice to have a chance of getting into it?
Well, usually, I think they ask what they need. They need like a slow piece and a fast piece, and that's about it. You know, I mean, like two pieces, contrasting pieces, I think is what's needed. And then everything, you get all the instructions on the web. You know, it's very simple. You need to sign a waiver that you give your life to us forever. Okay. Anyway, you want to ask a question?
What do you think about the age to start violin or an instrument?
The age to start a violin?
Right. Does it matter if it's like, you know, a talented person who started really late or something like that?
Well, what do you call late? You see, that's the thing. Is late 18 or is late 8? See what I mean?
Late,
That's
like maybe in 18,
after
after 18.
18 to start really from scratch. Difficult. Difficult. I mean, if you're not serious or anything like that, then for fun to do it, that's okay. You know, I have people. You know, our brain, again, it's the same with our brain. You know, it soaks so much when we are kids. You know, that's why, you know, to start at the age of 4 or 5, something like that, you just learn a lot. You know, the other day I was listening to somebody played 2 years, 7 years old, very cute, and very good. But if you're 18, it's just difficult. It's difficult. Not impossible, but you're working against serious odds. Serious. It's seriously difficult.
Well, Mr. Perlman, we're so grateful that you came to visit with us. And I want to remind everybody that the concert tonight's at 7:30 p.m. at the Lila Cockrell Theater downtown at the Gonzalez Convention Center. And, you know, there's still tickets available. And be sure and get your students and your friends. And but we want to thank you again and thank Antonio Strad Violin so much for this opportunity.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Go and practice.